We are back. Welcome. This is Unfiltered. I'm Nigel Walsh, and you are?
Matt Connolly, guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen. How are you?
Mate, I'm really well. I am really well, thanks. Yeah. And life is good. It feels like summer is around the corner and the sun is still out in the UK, but that's not where you are. How are you, Nigel?
No, I'm very well. I seem to be globetrotting a little bit, but I will say I'm taking, those cartoons where the rain follows you. I was in New York. It rained. I am now in Germany. It's chucking down cats and dog. So, like, if you saw Nigel, there's like a rain cloud above me, but a bright, sunny disposition. How's that?
Man, that's beautiful, as always. Well, good to hear. Good to
A-
hear.
a-
It's been a while.
and it has been a while, mostly because of travel. So apologies. And you
Yeah.
were off doing some pumping iron stuff or pushing iron stuff
Heroics.
or ironing.
Sure. Yeah, all that. One of those.
Yeah. I want to say it's by pure coincidence, but I have a lovely, cute little reuse cup in Germany that by coincidence matches the wall behind me in the office.
And your
Could
trousers,
I
which
be,
is amazing.
well, at least I'm wearing some. Matthew.
It's a very short coffee. What have you gone for? For all those
Well,
people
it's an
who can't see.
Americano, but it's an Americano, but it is a squashed cup. It's not a bucket like you get in the US. Like, do you want a 48 ounce, a 36 ounce, or a 400 ounce? This would feel like an 8-ounce coffee. Doesn't actually say how big it is, but it's very cute. And I like it. It's like, it's reusable.
Yeah, it's nice. I studied German for A level or through to A level, and I don't know if you studied languages, but in those days we learned huge set phrases for our oral examinations, and which had really complex language contained within it. And one of the set phrases I learned, which I won't repeat, was all about die gelbe Tonne, which was the yellow recycling bin. But back in, bearing in mind, we're both like 85 years old. Back in those days, they were already into recycling in a really big way. And I always thought that was a really cool thing. So I've always attached kind of that with Germany.
That is very cool. I do like what they've done. In fact, I sent a picture to my family chat earlier, which I will reveal to everyone is called Smelly Bum Bums. It makes me laugh. Like,
Sure.
we're going to be, why not? It's not the Walsh family chat. It's called Smelly Bum Bums. So
Is that what the neighbours called you? And you just thought, well, let's just use that.
I think so. I think so. Hey, there's always going to be comedy, smiley, and laughter in our household. Even when the kids are grown up, it's going to be called that, and it makes me laugh. So, yeah. Hey, we got to have a bit of fun with this, right? So yeah, no, it's very good. And actually, Emma, my wife, came back and said, "Oh, that's the same as what we got when we were in Stuttgart or elsewhere." So it seems to be like a national thing. It's quite good. It's quite good. So there we are. What's new and exciting in your world, Mr. Connolly? What's on the radar for you?
Well, I think, so Hyrox is taking a back seat for a couple of months, which is lovely. So personally, that's kind of freeing up a whole chunk of time. Like I took the dog for a
And you're
long
naked, aren't
walk
you?
and-
Tell me what you mean by naked. You've got clothes on, but you're naked. What does that mean to to our
in
friends?
a revealing my wrist, I am not wearing my wool. Mate, I'm going without data. Went out for a run and couple of runs without my Apple Watch as well. And it's just nice. So I've been so
Liberated.
focused. Yeah, I've been so focused on data-driven training, which is great, and I don't knock it at all. But it's lovely to have that space and bandwidth to recover, to not be driven by, to really just kind of remind myself what it feels like, and I don't know, just reconnect. So yeah, really nice. So without whoop.
I love it. And actually, there's been quite a few articles recently about people comparing the Whoop to the Fitbit Air, to the Apple Watch, to the Garmin, et cetera, and all that sorts of good stuff, which is great. But then there's been quite a few also going, I'm just going for a run, and it's for
Yeah.
me, not for the data or whatever else. Speaking of data, over the last few weeks, I did a Neko scan, the Daniel Ek founded
Mhm.
body scan that tells you all the bits and bobs about you, which is really good. And actually, I'm very pleased with the results. I'm healthier and younger than my actual age, which Whoop age does as well, which I quite like. And then last week I did a DEXA scan. And again, it
Oh.
revealed that I'm not as fat as I think I am. Can I say
What's the
that out
difference?
loud? Yeah.
I think so. What's the, tell me, Tell me between the two, what are they both?
Well,
What are the data points they're
so
looking at?
DEXA is body composition and visceral fat and muscle and bone density and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually really, like you, I love the data to go, well, what have I got to go work on that I'd like to improve every single time? Unfortunately, everything I do goes back to the one thing I don't want to do, which is more weight training. So I
Yeah,
just have
okay.
to go and lift
Why
heavy
don't you?
things. I like yoga and cardio and Barry's and
Yeah,
I like the sweat. So I used to need to go lift stuff. And I keep saying to myself, I'll go do it twice a week. And every Instagram post that's posted to men and women your age and my age is more about lift more stuff. It's better for you. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So
yeah.
every study I've got now, maybe I'm just going to ignore the data and keep ignoring it. But no, I think it's time to go lift things.
You know, in the when you go and do your sessions in the farm, you must be lifting
Yeah.
there, right? But you're lifting within a
But they're
session.
not like, yeah, but it's a boot camp style or high rock style or whatever it
Does that
might
not
be.
count?
Not really. I should be
Oh,
doing deadlifts and RDLs and bench and
yeah,
look,
yeah, yeah.
it's fine. I've booked some on. I just need to go and do them now. So
Okay.
maybe I will start towards the summer as it comes into welcome to Q3, or as I like to say in Germany, Wednesday.
Right.
What's
Come on, let's
what's
get
in the
into it.
what's in the world of what's in the world of work for you then? What's on the insurance or technology radar?
There's loads, right? There's loads. I had a good old write of So News, our newsletter on Friday, and there's a ton of stuff in there. But I think it's really interesting. I don't know if it's Corgi driven, AI driven, more likely, I suppose, the Corgi. But it really feels like uh, a resurgence in this kind of startup, new tech, different tech kind of vibe. So you got. I mean, we talked about Corgi, right, a couple of times. But I mean, they continue to steal headlines for a load of reasons. Most recently, they plagiarized or kind of basically stole Papermark's software. So they vibe coded an identical copy of that. Then somewhat slightly apologizing, saying, "Well, yeah, we should have put our own stamp on it at least." It's like, okay. Meantime, like
No
back, well,
hell, Sherlock.
only a couple of months ago, they were suing like some of their own team members who'd left to set up another company for stealing some of their stuff. It's like, some of their kind of like, regulatory frameworks and, some of their tech and stuff. It's like, I don't know, right? It's a real, but there's some real noise around it. But I think what is exciting, and maybe we talked about it last time, is, I like the ambition, and we talked about the kind of US UK thing, but the ambition these founders have got of like, we are building an absolute kind of rocket ship that, I mean, in Elon Musk's case, literally, but that is going to be worth, gazillions of dollars. It's going to change the industry. And there is so much debate. It's the same as Lemonade 10 years back, right? Can they, will they, won't they? And there's so many naysayers. There's so much investment that's going behind them that are obviously people who believe they can or they may be able to. So super interesting that. And so as a business, I think it's one of those where it's a real marmite. There's a lot of
Why?
discussion.
What's going on that has
Well, because
caused this?
yeah, because they're saying they can they can disrupt it's the same narrative we've heard, right? It's just innovate or die. It's they can disrupt an old legacy industry because they've got a bunch of new tech and it's going to cost a whole load less and they can get there tomorrow. Right?
So it keeps popping up for loads of different reasons, and I don't know whether like you. I love the ambition. I'm not sure I like the culture of, hey, let's sleep in the office and work 24/7. You're not going to walk into a traditional carrier anywhere and say, I'm sorry, folks, we're now moving to a 24/7 work day and we can live here.
Yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure.
sure that's what they're suggesting. The other thing they announced was they're going after the trucking industry. And there's been quite a few funny, snarky comments on this one as well. But also interesting. Um, Daryl Siri came out and said, if you underprice the product in a highly price sensitive, non loyal, high churn segment, you can definitely grow fast.
Sure.
Exclamation mark. But that's like buying crappy business and then not worrying for a year until the losses start hitting. So
But
that was
but
in
but
his
that's
III
where they
blog.
are. That's where they are, right? That's the story they're on right now, and they keep Yeah, they're on that trajectory. Their classic kind of Y Combinator, money follows, huge investment.
But how is that different to Amazon when they started not making money for the first X number of years and now being where they are? I guess maybe it's not a regulated industry or whatever else. There's there's a lot of noise about them. Is it the right noise or is it the wrong noise?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
are people sitting there going, oh, I'm worried about what they're doing at the pace they're moving? Or are people sitting there going, look at these guys, they're following the same mistakes of the past?
yeah. I think the latter, right? It really feels like we've heard this before. Which and I look, genuine hope that yeah, whilst I also don't believe in like they're taking the right approach to culture and all the rest, but that they make something happen, right? And they have some success because that will accelerate the industry. But it's like the we listened to the 20 VC, and I can't remember. There's the three VCs who get together. I never remember the other two chaps' names.
Roy O'Driscoll,
That's it.
Jason Lemkin, and Harry Styles. Harry
Yeah.
Styles? Harry Styles.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? And one of them saying it's like, I just don't want to invest into businesses that don't work 6 to 8 weeks. I'm like, oh, man, but they're capitalists, right? They're looking for return. They're looking for
Yeah.
that, and we know it's not sustainable. Those cultures, right? There's been 1,000 studies. You're going to start making mistakes. You're just going to all the rest.
But it's funny, your comment, like, we've been here before. I actually just used that very line in an article I wrote for one of the magazines uh, last week. And I said, we've seen this movie before, just this time we're better prepared.
Yeah,
And for the folks that are better prepared, I think we're going into eyes wide open, new suit of armor, more lessons learned. We've caught things up along the way, and we're doing some really good stuff. Anyway, I'm
yeah.
not going to say any more of this.
There
It's
you go.
fascinating to say the least. It's fascinating to say
Another
the least.
another founder who I met kind of when So and I was setting up. We got working with WPA, which is a UK health insurer. I don't know if you know those guys down in
Yeah,
Taunton, right? So for us in
yeah,
Bristol,
yeah.
super close. And Julian Stainton was the CEO of that business at the time, and we got on really well. And he was like this kind of crazy maverick, slightly older. He's retired since. Um, but he was connected into the IFHP, which is the International Federation for, let's go with health providers, maybe something like that. So there's this body of kind of CEOs for the health industry. Anyway, they had an event in Portugal. I got invited to speak. Another speaker was Jean Charles, who was just setting up health insurance in France, a health insurer in France called Ale. And now you look sort of 10 years later and there or thereabouts, they just raised a 480 mil euro Series G, maybe at a $5.5 billion valuation. Man, it's a good business. And it's one of those, so, it's so different to Corgi in who he was as a founder, how he approached his business, how he's grown his business. And I've always loved the journey. And they are, we talked about kind of, I don't know actually on the pod or not, but we talked about, is there a model for prevention out there? They're a
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
they're really big on that kind of, yes, we'll provide health insurance, but actually can we move into the prevention space?
I I love their story, and it always goes back to my DEXA scan and my NECO
Yeah,
scan that I've been doing. Like, I do think Emma asked me what it was like to do the scan. She's going to go and get one done because they're super affordable and whatever else. And I consider it to be almost a cross between walking into an Apple store, walking into the Starship Enterprise and the future of healthcare. And I kind of like that whole experience brought together, the way they've done it, and then the way they visualize it and bring it back to you. Like, he talks about 1 in 3 members opens the Allen app every week, 1 in 10 open it every single day to act on their own health. And more steps, more sport, better
yeah,
nutrition. Like that, he's really passionate. But the same way I like this, the U Life guys, in the same way they
yeah,
are promoting better, healthier habits. I think this is super, super exciting. So
yeah,
um,
super cool, right? I thought what's
I
interesting,
love
two,
it.
two, two things. One was so process. Yeah, I were the VC that led the Series G. So they are a consumer app investor, right? So they're not healthcare, they're not insurance,
Yeah.
which to your point is like it's moving this everyday habitual activity into the mainstream, right? As opposed to this being something for health insurance, right? So I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just their numbers, right? So 800 mil ARR, 50+% growth year on
It's
year.
great.
They're doing great. I love that. So well done, Alan.
I've got them lined up actually for next week's newsletter as well for the same thing because he was on CNBC, I think yesterday or this morning talking about the raise and whatever else. So
Very
we're
cool.
totally on the same page on this one. Yeah, I love it, love it, and great to see another European success, right? So
Yeah, 100%.
really, really super.
And I think if
Um,
I remember from his talk, sorry to interrupt, I think he had a business previously which made airplane seats or something like that. That was like I haven't looked into it for years, but I think that's what his original company was. And then he sold that, I think, successfully. And then it was his next venture. I mean, I love that randomness,
there's a
right?
common theme here, isn't it? There's a common theme here about people that just are serial entrepreneurs. I love it. I
Mm.
love it. You know, I shouldn't share this out loud. I'm going to share it anyway. The number of times I get asked, Nigel, when are you building your own? Like it feels like a weekly occurrence right now because we've got some really cool things that we're up to and that we're doing. But you must get the same thing. When are you built your own? But built many. Like, but when Nigel, when are you going to do it? That scares the life out of me sometimes. But I'm sitting there going, that's super exciting. There's a long path to get there. Who knows? Who
How do
knows?
you answer that question?
I don't. I like sit there and smile and go, we've got loads of stuff. Let's focus back on the things we're going to do now.
Okay, there you go. Love it.
I avoid it like the
Cool.
plague. I,
Yeah.
What else is going on? You've also mentioned Firemark. Tell me more.
Yeah, FireMart, we talked about this earlier. I think this for me, so IAG's kind of venture studio, yeah, or CVC, FireMart Ventures. For me, again, it's just so we've got some really interesting and big plays afoot at Sonar, right? And again, one for an offline chat, but proper kind of game changing conversations, and you never know where these conversations go, right? They may be something that may just fizzle out and the rest. But I think what's really interesting is when we're working with our clients and when they're looking at that kind of Horizon 2, Horizon 3 space, as opposed to kind of like transformational activity, right? It's kind of like what is the playbook that we need to put down for our business to be a success in the future? And what always interests me is this: it's not just about, I don't know, let's put some investment into company X because I think they're going to make X return or XX return. And what FireMark have done is they've created this kind of like this full stack of starter companies around them. So it's in the kind of disaster resilience space, right? So they've gone from this like, let's predict who's at risk. So they've invested in 7 analytics, detect when it's going to happen. So they've kind of got near space labs for that. Then they're going to support people in a kind of mental health sense when, and if disaster strikes. So this is kind of Sonder, which I think I put in my newsletter last week. And then the most recent is then get them physically sheltered when repairs happen, which is then Space Cube. But it's kind of like, it's a really smart read on, you look at, and this is a lot of kind of the interpretation of what we do, right? There's a lot of data out there about who's putting money where, who's partnering with who. It's almost kind of the why and what does that mean? And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of other insurers kind of follow this path of saying, actually, here's the end to end. We need to look after our customers at all of these stages. Here's how we're going to make sure that we're going to be doing that, right? And so you're investing, you're partnering, you're building products and services at that end to end kind of, we're looking after these guys. And so I just thought it was a really interesting thing. You just watching and how they're placing their bets. We don't work with them,
I,
don't know
I,
them that well, but I
I,
like it.
I love it. Like, and I see more and more every conversation. And dare I say, is this not going full circle? You remember, or I certainly remember at least my article I wrote 7 or 8 years ago. We have all the ingredients, but we just want cake. It feels like we're going full
I
circle to
remember
go,
that
I
article.
don't want the product. I want the value added services that
Yeah.
sit around the edge. And here I am speaking to brokers in the US, Australia, Europe, and they're all going back to now we've got this cool new technology. Couldn't we build the value added services around the edge? So I sit there going, yes. And here's the plan that we built before that talks about loyalty and everything else and why this matters and what we can do. I think it was ahead of its time in terms of nice concept, couldn't execute it very
Yeah.
well. But now we've got the capability to do it. You and I have talked about this before. I was talking to someone yesterday about insurers being on ChatGPT as an
Mhm.
app. And there was an article from Head for Points, one of the travel websites, talking about how Virgin Atlantic is now on ChatGPT, but the experience was pretty crappy. And I'm like, well, you take the same prompt and put it into Gemini that's connected to Google Flights, and you get a really good outcome because you've asked the right question and it's got access to the right data. So it's only a matter of time. And then the final bit to that piece of puzzle is, can you then take it all the way through to agentic commerce? And actually, my point here is back to your end to end is you can start to do all these things. They're getting better and better as the technology evolves. And what's changing is the speed of development or availability of those things in our pockets day in, day out.
Yeah.
So I really like it. I really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Me too.
And as you speak about end to end and funding and data. The other one that came up last week or week before was ISI raised $1 billion in funding. So another European one out of Helsinki, but ISI raising $1 billion in funding. It's just unbelievable, right?
Yeah, super cool. I remember those guys. I shared a panel or something with them at an event, or I can't remember what it was. But I just even then it's just like we're sending rocket after rocket into space. To then I'm like, how cool is that,
You,
right? I mean, it's just let
you,
alone business success, but it's like I'd love to be sending rockets into space. I think that's wonderful.
do you know what I like about all these things, though? Is we started off talking about Corgi, who's after the shortcut to success. And you look at
Yep.
ISI, who've been doing this for a decade, or any of these folks that are a decade in, Lemonade and everyone else. There's no shortcut here. There's no I saw a meme the other day while I was traveling that showed the queue to GLP-1s and surgery, and everyone lining up, rolling through it, and the queue to the old-fashioned just give up sugar and bread walshy, and it works, and it's the right answer to go do it. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
choose your path, but there's no shortcuts, is there?
No, there's not. But then some businesses will work out a lot quicker than others as well, right? And that because again, I look at Sonar, and I probably shouldn't be saying this out loud, but it's been such slow growth. You know that 10-year overnight success, and I really feel it. It's 10 years in September for us, and it is all changing. And I know, and I can see it. I can see it in the numbers. But it's been a slog to get here. And I think it's in comparison, right? My first business was about 3, 4 years in. I was like, well, I might just go snowboarding for a few months. It's just like, because it was so easy. But life has changed, business has changed, but we were super lucky then. And it's a different story nowadays. But yeah, but
But
as
you can
long as,
almost argue the micro journeys along the way as the world changes around you. Like
right,
you've
totally.
not set out to do the same thing you did 10 years ago. It's evolved massively. I made lots of reflections and comparisons to InsurTech 10 years ago for this recent article, because I think we learned loads, and it wasn't the technology disruption, it was the mindset shift that I always go back to. That was a tongue twister.
Easy for you to
Um,
say.
yeah, not for others. Um, but yeah, I think it's actually the mindset shift more often than not that is the biggest thing that we've got, and the lessons we learn along the journey. So, if
Yeah, for
anything, I
sure.
could say is almost enjoy the journey.
Yeah, I agree, right? I agree. And then that's where we started, right? It's I can't remember what you were saying. Oh, the rain is always following you, but you've got this sunshiny smile. And I think you've got to love it. And one day, one day's gonna be tough, but it makes the next day when it's great even better. And as the highs are higher and the lows are lower, right? But
There, there's a lot of
enjoy it.
talk around that, and it's a nice segue to our last piece. Is there's a lot of talk around that in terms of AI and AI adoption, and again, it talks about shortcuts, and you can't just go from process A to Z without going through all the steps. Actually, the fun, and I shared this in one of my presentations recently. There's a comedian in the US that's going screw AI and using other words or whatever else. Um, and he's getting cheers rather than all the Eric Schmidts or Sundar
Yeah.
Pichai who are getting booed when they talk about AI. He's going sod AI, ugh." and and actually, whilst he's making a joke, his serious point in the message is love the journey. Like it's not just about the destination. You can't shortcut the learning. The learning is actually in the journey as we go through it step by step by step.
Mate, I'd love to see you present. Do you do like impressions of this comedian and things as well?
Not quite,
Okay.
not quite. But I am not shy, quiet, or reserved, as you might imagine. And
No,
I
and
love the
like full
industry.
of opinion.
And I'm and I have strong opinions loosely held, as you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but the,
Very good.
the last thing I was going to say, I look, and you joked before this as well. I'm back on it again because I think the narrative's upside down. There's an article in the FT supported by Ramp and a bunch of others talking about how heavy adopters of AI are growing faster than those that don't. It's a really good
Right.
read, but the net says actually it's not about taking jobs out or whatever else it is. It's about adopting and giving your teams the skills that or the tools and the capabilities that they've been longing for, getting rid of the crappy jobs that are there. And as I've said before, raising the floor, not the ceiling. So everyone levels up to do the job they're there to do, not in our world, shift stuff around in spreadsheets and copy paste things between submissions and claims or whatever else it might be. So actually, if you get rid of the monotony and the nonsense that none of us like doing, we were joking about scheduling and diaries or whatever else before we started. Get rid of all that nonsense. Let us focus on the things that we love doing, and that's talking about our industry or helping it move forward or
Sure.
sharing insights from different parts of the world. So
Say
I
yes
am
to AI. Is that what you're saying?
say yes to AI. Like
Say
I
yes
don't
to
want to say
AI.
it's inevitable because it's not inevitable everywhere, but embrace, adopt, be curious, work out where it works. Back to the Aviva phrase, which was digital first but not everywhere. It should be AI first but not everywhere, right? It's use it
Yeah.
where it matters and don't and not where it doesn't.
Here, here, Nigel Walsh. Hey,
Ah,
Nigel Walsh for Prime Minister. There's a vacancy. There we go. We
I
have
don't
it.
think there's a vacancy. We have someone else for that, but let's not even talk about that one. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, no, yeah, please, let's not. We had a
Let's
breakfast this morning. I
definitely.
was like, oh, I'm out. Okay, cool. Good stuff. Well, how are you going to spend the day? You're going to be walking around buying, I don't know, what are they called? Currywurst and enjoying Munich. Is that what you are, Munich?
No, I'm in Munich. I'm going to be
Yeah,
nails to my laptop and running through loads of stuff. As always, we're in town for a bunch of client and partner EBCs, dinner this evening. Usual
nice.
day in the life of Nigel. I wouldn't change it for the world. I absolutely love it.
Well,
What
good
about you?
stuff. Mate, well, I mean, quite the opposite. So I'm going to go out for a 3-hour bike ride. So that's what I'm going to do. And I know it's a working day, but I'm going to take some time out. I've been working very hard. The sun is shining, and I can't wait. I really can't. Just something really gentle, going towards the southwest, and do that during the day. And I'm very excited for that. So yeah, and then football
Be
on
safe. Wear
later.
a helmet.
I always, 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 always. Yeah, you're mad, isn't it, when you see people without helmets? And yeah.
Speaking about safety, my little guy just started driving yesterday. It was his birthday 2 days ago,
Wow.
and he's gone for his first lesson. How scary is that?
That is amazing. No, I love that. It's not scary. It's brilliant. Are you going to take him with L plates on the car as well? You're going to,
I will send you the picture later on. He's got L plates. We're going driving later on this week.
okay, love it.
Can't wait.
Good.
Can't wait.
Nigel, good luck today in Munich. It has been a pleasure as always. Yeah, a big thanks.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Tschüss.
See you soon. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.